today, yes, I am just kind of wearing my sweatshirt and have my hair up kind of crazy because I am just starting my day at 2 in the afternoon. Well, not really starting my day. I've done some things this morning, but now I'm finally cracking down and doing something. Now, you may ask, wow, you look kind of funny just redoing a recording with some earphones in, and I will say back to you, yeah, I do look kind of funny. The reason why I have these in is because my thought is to talk about music today, and how music may affect you unconsciously or even consciously, you know, in your day-to-day life and how you're living. And of course, I'm going to tie God into this because God is, you know, who I believe should be the center of your life and is the center of my life. So, what I'm going to think about today is the topic that negative music may cause negative thoughts, actions, things to come into your life that you may not realize. If you are walking down the street or driving in your car or whatever you're doing where you're listening to certain kind of music and it's just kind of seeping into you and seeping into you more and more over and over, eventually it kind of gets stuck down into your heart and into your whole, like, everything, and unconsciously you'll just start singing things or thinking of certain songs and what's going on in songs and maybe acting out what's going on in songs unconsciously. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. I mean, it doesn't really stereotypically go out to everybody, but, you know, it makes good sense to kind of believe that could happen. And so what we need to kind of maybe be careful about is what kind of music we're listening to. And I know since I grew up in a Christian family and everything, my parents always told me, don't listen to the radio, it's full of sin, God doesn't want you to listen to it, it's just not the right thing at all. So at the age of like 13, 14, I started rebelling, and I was just like, no, I'm listening to the radio, I'm going to do everything you tell me not to do because I need to experience this on my own. I don't understand why it's wrong, you're just telling me it's wrong. And of course I should have, you know, followed and listened and obeyed my parents like God tells us to do. But at that age, I just didn't have good, you know, good foundation reasoning in my mind, like, why is this wrong? Thinking back on it now after listening to a lot of that kind of music, I was centering my life around a lot of sensual, kind of like pleasureful, selfish things in my life. And a lot of the music that I listened to was like punk rock, talked about a lot of, you know, couples who had been torn apart from one another and, you know, like finding their love again and, you know, how they're coping and this and that, or, you know, maybe the relationship is going well and they're just kind of like expressing their love to that other person. And that's really putting focus on self and on centering your life around another person. And so at a very young age, I started centering a lot of my thoughts around boys. I would just, any chance I got, I had to be dating somebody. Like, I think the first boyfriend I ever had was when I was 14 years old. And so you go from one person to the next person to the next person, and I never was satisfied because I was trying to find my satisfaction in that. And I believe a lot of it stemmed from the music that I was listening to and letting influence me. Even once I got to be like 16, 17, and I was starting to drive and listen to music and stuff like that, whenever I would just be having a tough day, I'd throw something in that would make me feel good, but it was influencing me wrong if it wasn't Christian. And I always knew that if it was Christian, like, I always felt a peace and started feeling better, but because I wasn't changing everything in my life, like, to kind of turn everything over to God and just, you know, of course it's steps of laying like one thing down and then another thing down and then another thing down, and you're not just going to change overnight, which is what I thought maybe I could do in high school, so it just was so hard that I never did it. you know, you have to be doing that. You have to be recognizing what kind of music that you're listening to and what kind of things are influencing your life. Even people. People wasn't a big thing for me because I always was in Christian school growing up. Never really encountered many people that led me the wrong way. Whenever I was put in circumstances where I was with people that weren't like very good, things always kind of turned around, and God just took those people out of my life just like that. Like, God was just so awesome. He was just so awesome to me, but He allowed me to learn, of course, another way, just through some things that I had gone through. And so, yeah, music has always been a big influence on me. And so, you know, some of you guys out there that may have not been your, like, big influence, maybe it was having a problem with, you know, eating, your weight, maybe it was a problem with, you know, acceptance of parents. Maybe, you know, you were the school bully, and so you just had a problem with that. Maybe you dealt with drugs or alcohol or something. A lot of those typical things that people come across, but mine was definitely putting my focus on, you know, boys. And a lot of it, like I said, stemmed from the music that I was listening to of that time. And so now, of course, whenever I go back and listen to that kind of music, it doesn't affect me as much because my mind's more clear and I've, of course, matured and stuff like that, and I'm not really being influenced in that manner at all through music. But I know there's certain music I turn on and I have to turn off right away because it bothers me so much. But then there's other stuff that I used to listen to, which, you know, I felt was probably not very good influence on me, that, you know, doesn't bother me anymore. But what I try to listen to on a regular basis that continues to keep my minds and thoughts pure and just totally focusing where they should be, is Christian music. Anything that's exalting God's name. Now there's different types of, you know, genres and stuff like that, types of music, you should say, like pop, rock, hip-hop, jazz, you know, a whole bunch of different, like, gospel, you know, religious music. There's so many different types of Christian music, and Christian is very broad term these days, but if you go on to a search online for music and you type in Christian, it will typically bring up a lot of the stuff that I listen to, which, you know, a lot of times, even if it's not totally talking about God, it's talking about good circumstances, or circumstances that were bad, but then God brought you out of them, good things that are revolving your mind and thoughts on things that won't interrupt your day or disrupt and fog your mind into thinking things that are just really, you know, making you feel like you're not in control, or not necessarily that you should be in control, because God should be in control, but, you know, if you're letting your body be taken over by these things and you're letting them kind of control you, I believe, personally, that can allow for, again, like, satanic and demonic spirits to come over and just start just eating away at you and, you know, becoming a part of your whole life. And so we just need to be careful, thinking about the topic of music here, what kind of music we're listening to. Does it glorify God in the end? Does it glorify God? If it doesn't glorify God, then what's the point of wasting those even a couple minutes to listen to a song that is not glorifying Him? Because God has given us a limited number of days. God says that our life is just like a twinkling of an eye, and, you know, we're just here 1 second and we could be gone the next. And so how are we spending our time? What are we doing? And I know this is a good life application for myself, just because there's so many things that are distractions these days, so many things that can take our mind and focus off of glorifying God, our creator, our sustainer, our deliverer, our healer, everything. And so we just need to focus on that today and realize that we need to change and we need to have a different focus to have beautiful, happy lives. And so that's my word of thought for today for you. I encourage you to be consciously living for the Lord in a manner that pleases Him. God bless.